Ketogenic diet is not a high-fat diet. So just because it says keto on the outside of a label does not mean that it's healthy. So if you've come to the ketogenic diet and you're finding that you're not getting the weight loss result that you want, then I want you to look at protein, make sure you're not eating too much protein. Dr. Mindy here, and on this video, I am gonna just go right to the 5 biggest mistakes that people make when they try to go keto. Okay, here are the 5 mistakes. Ready? Number 1, these are like pet peeves. I cannot wait for you to understand these because we get these questions all the time. First one, the ketogenic diet is not a high-fat diet. I'm gonna say that again. The ketogenic diet is not a high-fat diet. You don't have to lean into all your macronutrients coming from fat. Now, we have some recommendations, like when I talk about the ketobiotic diet, which I wrote about in the new book, Fast Like a Girl. I also wrote about it in the Menopause Reset. Ketobiotic diet, we want you to lean into good fats. That's awesome, but you don't have to make fat your primary macronutrient. Now, what happens when people lean into too much fat on the ketogenic diet is sometimes they start to see cholesterol going up. So if you love fat, you're an avocado fan, a nut butter fan, you do the keto cups like I'm constantly recommending, then those are good fats, but you don't have to put all your focus on fat as the macronutrient. When you come to the ketogenic diet, think of fat as a blood sugar stabilizer. That's all it's doing, is just keeping your blood sugar stable so that you're less hungry. Okay, point number 2. People, when they go keto, they increase their protein and then they eat too much protein. Okay, so this is a tricky one because over time, if you want to lose weight, protein will increase glucose and it'll increase insulin as much as carbohydrates over time. So if you've come to the ketogenic diet and you're finding that you're not getting the weight loss result that you want, then I want you to look at protein, make sure you're not eating too much protein. Remember, when we look at those macronutrients, protein does spike glucose. But you also need protein to build muscle. So this is why I'm such a fan of variation. Fast Like a Girl, I have a whole section on proteins, and I talk about what proteins you should eat and how much you should eat. Third problem people do, eating commercialized keto products. Okay, for the most part, every flippin' keto product I have seen out there is full of junk. I was recently in a commercial grocery store and there was put out a keto bread, and I would look down and I thought, oh my God, they have keto bread in a mainstream grocery store? I read the ingredients and it was a toxic dump of chemicals. So just because it says keto on the outside of a label does not mean that it's healthy. So please be mindful that you want to still eat clean ingredients. Okay, number 4, another huge pet peeve. The best way to get into ketosis is not through diet changes. It's through fasting. So why are you on the keto diet? You're on the keto diet because you want to lose weight and you want those ketones to heal, you want to burn more fat. Well, guess what? The first step should be fasting. Start compressing your eating window and elongating your fasting window, and you'll get into ketosis faster than eating all day long, depriving yourself of carbohydrates, eating the wrong fats, eating all the commercial keto products. That is the hardest way to get into ketosis. Easiest way? Let's compress your eating window, leaving more time for fasting. Okay, number 5, and this is another pet peeve, is the biggest mistake people make with the ketogenic diet is whatever path in they find, they get so excited about how they feel, they keep eating the same way, they keep fasting the same way, they do not vary in and out of ketosis. Women specifically, I want to chat with you here for a moment because if you have a cycle, you are not meant to stay into ketosis all the time, specifically the week before your period and during ovulation. Fast Like a Girl, I map out everything a woman needs to know about fasting, and the ketogenic diet is in that book. So just put Fast Like a Girl in the comments and my team will send you a link. But the important part I want you to understand is the ketogenic diet, especially for women, is made to cycle. And if you have a normal menstrual cycle or a regular menstrual cycle, you will cycle it to that. Postmenopausal women, I have a whole nother strategy for you. I have other videos for you. I have a whole book for you. It's called The Menopause Reset. You can find it there. Men, you don't have hormones to map it to, but you definitely need to cycle it. Ketogenic diet is fabulous in the beginning for men and women, but if you stay there and you don't go in and out of what we call feast-famine cycling, it may be more difficult.
Okay, check this out. I have a free fasting guide for you all. It's free, and it's going to teach you all the basics of fasting. It's going to teach you how to kill hunger when you fast, which is really cool, and it's going to show you how to break your fast, among many other things. All you got to do is click on the link below. And
on this video, I want to bust a myth about the ketogenic diet. And that myth is that in order to get into ketosis, you've got to elevate your fat intake. So remember, when we are pairing our food with our fasts, in the food realm, we don't think about calories, we think about macros. And there are 3 macros that we have to think about when it comes to our blood sugar and metabolic switching. So the first macro is carbohydrates. Now, here's what you need to know about carbohydrates. Not all carbohydrates are made equal. So a simple carbohydrate like a cookie or even a piece of bread is going to spike that blood sugar really high. And as high as that blood sugar goes, that is going to make it more difficult to get into the fasted state. It's also going to fill your glucose bucket, where you're going to start to see that your glucose numbers are higher on a fairly regular basis. So as a general rule, when you're applying the principles of a fasting lifestyle, we want to lean into these simple carbohydrates in very minimal amounts. Now with bread, you don't have the sugar in it, so it may spike your carbohydrate load a little less. It's not going to have as strong of a glucose reaction, but the best carbohydrate is what I call nature's carbs. And nature's carbs are powerful because they have fiber in it. And that fiber combined with the carbohydrate load of a vegetable or a piece of fruit makes it so that your blood sugar doesn't spike as high as it would with a piece of bread. Now, the second macro that we love when we're building a fasting lifestyle is protein. And protein is really powerful for 3 reasons. 1, it kills hunger. 2, it takes longer to absorb in your body, so the glucose response is not going to be as high. And 3, many times it can actually, if you pair it with a carbohydrate, it can actually slow down even the absorption of that carb if you're combining the 2 together. So from a ketogenic standpoint, protein is amazing. Now, what about fat? This is what this whole video is about. With fat, the reason we love fat is because look at what it does to your blood sugar. It is slow, stable. For many of you, fat is going to lower your blood sugar. And if your blood sugar stays in these lower levels here, you will be able to get yourself over into the fat burner place, over into ketosis a whole lot quicker. So the question that we started off with here was, do you have to eat fat on the ketogenic diet? And I want to go into a little more of the nuance of that question and say, do we need to eat fat to get into ketosis? And the answer to that second question is no. So you can eat smart carbs, make sure you're eating the right carbs, make sure you're leaning into protein, and enjoy fat. I'm not saying don't enjoy fat. There's a lot of great benefits to fat, but you can still tap into this fat burner system by eating smart carbs, leaning into protein, and doing less fat if you're concerned about that. So as always, I hope that's helpful. This is really important because what we notice is that when we're fasting, we're trying to become a fat burner. We're working on being a better fat burner. We're working on making ketones. That's really important. And in order to become a better fat burner, we have to be better at our sugar burner system, which is where these macros come into place. Okay, are you fasting and you're still not losing weight? Check out this video because you might be missing a key part of your fasting experience that's gonna unlock weight loss. So if you think about it, all the humans that emerged out of that time have the gene that allows us to go without food, and that gene they believe is in all of us today.